The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Tokucast Reviews episode 98. You might tell from some of our expressions that we are not happy to be here. But we know you are very happy to be here.
You can tell by my expression, I'm very happy to be here.
Y'all have been asking for this one for a very, 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 very long time.
And like Christmas, it was gonna come eventually.
Yes.
You just needed the wait.
Before we go any further, yes, I know what comes out tomorrow.
As of recording this.
As of recording this.
Yes.
No, we won't talk about it for a few weeks. Don't ask.
We always wait for 3 episodes to come out, and then we do our first impressions.
Yes.
Because you can't judge a show by its very first episode.
Yes.
I mean, you can.
It's like when people ask...
You can't accurately judge a show.
I'm just going to say a gripe I have here. When people ask, review build up next. We go in order.
We go in chronological order.
We go in chronological order until we end up catching up, and then we're going to go back and fill gaps. So...
Except for maybe 100, where we might go back to do one of the originals.
It depends.
We're still figuring that out.
I would also like to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who has been watching our videos.
For 98 fucking episodes.
Yes, not just the 98 episodes, but the past couple of weeks. Just a lot of people have watched them. A lot of people have left very nice comments, and thank you for that. It's very nice. I really appreciate it.
Especially as we, try new stuff out. And
Yes, thank you all for being so receptive of Toku Pitch.
Yes.
Glad you all enjoyed it.
And we are still trying to come up with new ideas because we know, we're running out of subjects for Toku tier and stuff like that.
Just to have some stuff in there to do.
But we are still, every time we get together, we're trying to come up with something new. I know we also haven't streamed, all 3 of us, in a while, so we probably want to do that soon.
We'll figure out something. I know once Yakuza Like a Dragon comes out in November, I'll be streaming that.
There we go.
I was going to do the entire series, but I did all of that months ago.
I was, to kind of take a page out of Jacob's book, I was going to stream the full game of Avengers, but then I heard it was a glitchy hot mess, so I'm waiting for a patch.
It's going to get patched ad infinitum because it's a living game, but...
I mean, get the glitches patched out, is my point.
They never will be. There will always be glitches in a living game. Currently, it's at a 73% on OpenCritic. So
I'm giving it the time to get rid of the new release bugs, if that makes sense.
It does.
Ghost.
So, Kamen Rider Ghost.
Can I say something before we start?
Please do.
I had such hopes for this show.
Originally?
When it was being announced and being revealed.
Okay.
Not one, because, and then it's it's gonna be Ghost, he's gonna be dead, and I'm Danny Phantom the Kamen Rider, which is awesome.
And I think what made it worse is the fact that we saw him at the end of Drive.
Oh yeah, we saw him at the end of Drive, where he was kind of like a cocky prick.
Yeah, he was funny. And stuff that.
And he used his floating ability a lot more often.
Yes.
And
that was also in
great.
One episode at the end of another show.
Yeah, so. And we should have learned from Wizard, because Wizard in Forze was definitely different than Wizard from Pro.
Oh yeah, Wizard from the movie.
Yeah. But
I still love that movie.
We loved the suit when we first saw it. With the hood was a good idea. Was a decent idea that looked like it was being executed properly.
Did have a problem almost immediately though.
I'm just talking about when shit was being revealed, not when we started watching the show.
No, it's not even that. It's the chest.
Yeah,
the chest is too big, and we'll talk about that.
we understood why, because it lit up, which means you have to have all the lights and essentially a power source for it.
Didn't do it enough to warrant that.
I know, but
could have just done LEDs.
But I just remember you and I going, there might be night filming. Night filming.
It did a total twice.
Yeah. It's not that this show. It's not that I hate this show.
But we're going to talk about it like a good, bad, and terrible bad.
I was just so disappointed in this show.
So let's start off with the good.
I like some of the suits.
Yes.
I do like the
suits. Aesthetic stuff in a lot of this show is actually pretty good. Like I said with Ghost, the main problem that I have with a lot of the main Ghost suit is the fact that the chest is as big as it is.
I don't have a problem with the chest, and I also really like the design on the chest.
I mean, yeah, I like the design and everything.
The icon design
and
everything.
It's so weirdly wide for the rest of the suit. Because it looked like he only did chest there.
I'll give you that the base suits, and even, which is something we never get to say, the legacy legendary the suits.
The rider suits.
The rider suits look good, but some of his forms, not so much.
I know. Oh, go ahead.
I think, because when we were talking about Zyuohger during our last review, I mentioned how the show felt so cheap. We know that for Ghost, they took a lot of the budget and gave it to Amazon's instead.
Yeah.
While Zyuohger felt like the art department was giving up, this felt like the art department was really trying to stretch their budget.
They were fighting to the last
It
man.
felt everything about it never really feels like it quite pays off aesthetically, but at least it feels like they're trying.
Yeah.
It feels like the art department and the production designers were all trying to to stretch their budget as far as they could in terms of not just the Kamen Rider suits, but like the world design and the monsters and costume design and such.
I'll give you that, but there were some shortcomings regardless.
Well, let's talk about the good. Does anybody have like a favorite suit? Because I know what mine is.
What's your favorite suit?
Beethoven.
Really?
It's for me, it's Ore.
Oh, the original
the
one?
first one.
I love
that one just feels like it just like really meshes together well the most. The Beethoven one, it's not some. I hate it with the undersuit. Yeah,
but I feel like if the undersuit was like on Dark Ghost or whatever the thing's name was, where the undersuit is also black and white, it would make it look better. But I love this jacket and I want it as a jacket.
Speaking of aesthetics, honestly, I think my favorite is the burning version of Ore.
Token Boost.
Yeah, but that is pure bias. That's pure bias.
Because red.
It's red, black, and I like how it all meshes. Now, story-wise, it's atrocious. It fits nowhere.
I think the Token Boost suit is okay. I'm not a huge fan of the way the icons, like the historical icons, the way they go over it, because they don't work as well as they do on the...
Especially, Goemon just looks the worst because it's neon green.
Really, I thought he may look the worst.
I thought that one was fine. It's pink, but the Goemon...
I don't think... Except for Base Boost, I don't think any of them look particularly good on it.
I'm just referring to Base
weird
Boost.
clash of colors. I like Spectre's suit.
Spectre's suit is also good.
Spectre's suit is okay.
I do not like, I forgot his name. Necrom's suit.
Well, we'll say...
Yeah, I think that one's okay.
I think it's so... The problem with it is the transformation device. It's too big.
It's a little too...
My problem with it is the snorkel mask.
We'll get to transformations. Yeah, the face comes out a little bit too far, but on the whole,
I can't not think Ben 10 when I think it. When I look at it.
I think the colors are okay.
Yeah. The colors on his are good.
In terms of things like story and characters, there are things about the story and characters that I like. You can laugh all you want.
I know.
There are things about them I like.
There are things I like as well, but overall, I still have to laugh.
There are certain ideas at play, particularly in the first 12 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
That I think that I really wish they could have elaborated on more. Like, one of my favorite things about the first...
Sorry, I'll let you finish.
Okay, thank you. One of my favorite things about the first 12 episodes is the victims of the week that Ghost is trying to save. I love how it's like, because we get a new icon every episode, whether it's Beethoven, whether it's Billy the Kid or Newton or Edison, what have you.
Oh, I'll talk about that Newton one.
The way that we have a regular person whose goal and dreams, like their life in some way reflects an aspect of the icon, but it's a corrupted version of it. Things like like in the second episode, it's like the scientist who's like constantly trying to invent things, and it's like a corrupted version of...
Excuse me.
You are excused. It's a corrupted version of what like Edison, like the Edison inventions, and how that has corrupted him. And I think that's a really interesting idea. I just wish they did more with it.
They dropped that hard, and I didn't like the beginning because Miraculous Hug of Hope.
I mean, I like hugs.
I hate that. I hated it so much. It was such a stupid.
So
it was like a lesser dollar store version of what Wizard did.
This show, as a whole, feels like they pulled together a lot of ideas from Forze and Wizard.
I can see that.
But didn't quite know how to follow through on any of them.
Let's move to the bad.
I need to take something back that I said earlier.
Okay.
I think Nobunaga might actually be my favorite suit aesthetically.
Oh, the purple one?
Yeah. Like, I just looking at it again, I'm like, okay, that's not bad.
Pretty
much both the forms that Spectre gets first, Nobunaga and Tutankhamen are really good. Look really good.
If I could bring up like a couple more good things before we move on.
Please, we're looking for them.
Okay. I think the cast does a good job with what they're given.
With what they're given, keyword.
Yes. We'll get there, Marcus. We'll get there.
Akari, yeah. I liked her.
Mm-hmm.
She was the most competent. She came up with a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
She was there a lot, and she was actually helpful.
There are things about her character but that I really hated, but that's more of a script problem than I think an actor problem.
Yeah.
And I think we've got like a pretty big cast of characters, and for the most part, I felt like the cast had good chemistry. I thought they did. I thought they, good chemistry. They worked together as a unit. It seems like it was a good set to be on. That's the vibe I got. Marcus, you just look like you're dying with every passing second.
Pretty much.
That was him watching the show.
Yeah, I know. But I think with the script that they had, with the story they were given to work with, I think the actors are fine. My problems mostly come down to script and story.
As we said before, Ghost himself, Tenku Takaru, is great outside of his show. When he's not in his own show, he's so much better as a character.
As you said about Wizard as well.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Move it to the bad. Although, I think I'm just going to end up muddying this with terrible bad. So
should it just be good and bad?
Yeah, we're just going to do good and bad in this one because the bad is also terrible bad here. I want to talk about, just as a minor thing first, but he's loud, Onari. I hated him so much. It was like Shinpei again. And I hated everything about this character. He was there to be loud and to be comic relief, but he came off
but he was also
as cringy.
If I'm thinking of the correct character, he was also there to be
he's the monk.
Yeah, he was also there to be the opposite of the sister because she's all about science and he's all about mysticism.
Sister.
Sorry, got the characters mixed up. I was getting ready to complain about the sister complex, and then I had to switch gears.
I hated Onari.
But he was supposed to be the opposite to her in her view of science.
Well, yeah, that was...
But it worked so poorly. Go.
Here's how I feel about Onari. I really appreciate the level of energy this actor brought.
Fair enough.
I was not a fan how every line was yelled. But at the same time, Takaharu didn't yell every line.
It felt like he did.
Anyway,
I was assaulted by his
next.
I understand.
It's his time.
But I've talked in the past couple of reviews we've done about how, especially in the Zeboja review, about how the energy never quite felt where it should. Onari, he has kind of the opposite problem in that he has no levels. I don't have a problem with the energy being where it is. In fact, I really appreciate it, and I love how the actor commits. And he definitely has the physicality to really work with the role.
But there's a double-edged sword.
There is a double-edged sword in that they don't give him any levels. They don't give him enough downtime. And here's another thing I felt. I don't know if either of you two, and in the comments let me know as well if you feel this way. I feel like the role of Onari was written for somebody who was a lot older. I feel like Onari, if you cast an actor like a Kenji Oba, think about it. If you cast somebody around his age who has the energy to be big and boisterous and fill the screen,
like the original Kyoryu Violet.
No,
what? He was like that level.
He annoyed the hell out of me.
I
just don't think he liked Kyoryu Violet's voice, but I understand where.
I also didn't like Kyoryu. Kyoryu Violet is also the same thing. Like they don't give him any downtime. He's always screaming. I'm thinking more along the lines of somebody like. I'm trying to
I think you hit the nail on the head with Kenji Oba.
Yeah, I mean, a comparison is evading me right now, and I apologize for that. But somebody who could be big and boisterous and fill the screen, but who can also, like, really, like, hammer it down and, you know, capture that zen of a Buddhist monk when the script calls for it, I think it would have worked out a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So meanwhile, Honor is always up here. Always up here. And his voice hurt my ears.
Now,
which is something I hate.
To go back to what I always love to talk about, which is the aesthetic. Some of these suits, holy fuck, they're bad.
Yeah. Getting back to what I was saying earlier about how I feel like they were trying to stretch the budget as much as they could, that's for not just the suits, but also whenever he goes into the icon and meets with them as a physical body, where it's just a blank suit with the eyes and the jacket over it. I get what they were going for.
Yeah,
but I
know.
Okay, I don't mean this this show feels like, and I don't want to mean this as a negative because I've done this myself before and it can be a lot of fun. Community theater. I don't mean that as like a slap in the face. I don't mean it as an insult. This show had very little money. They tried to stretch it as much as they can. When you are in a community theater production, I know from experience, you raid grandma's closet and you get whatever you can for your costumes. You raid the department stores, you raid Goodwill, and you try to find what you can and you use what you can to make it work. And that's what it feels like they did. But it's still
lazy.
No, it's not lazy.
For this show,
it's not lazy.
I'm sorry. I'm referring to some of the designs, which really doesn't apply to that analogy, because some of these visor designs are just lazy.
I don't know that I'd use the word lazy. I would just say they're not good.
Yeah, some of them are like.
But that's just how I feel.
They focused so hard to get symmetry that they threw out style. Like, I look at, like, Billy the Kid's visor, the entire helmet, and I'm just like...
Oh, where it's the two guns and, like, the eyes or the sides, like,
why?
empty spaces?
Yeah.
Let's talk about...
And the same thing with the first form he gets. I forgot what it's called.
All right.
No, Musashi. It's the exact same thing. Also, do not give him a form in his first fucking episode.
That was painful to watch.
Let us enjoy the base form that he just got.
There was no room to breathe. It was like, we need some time to really enjoy and appreciate the work that you put into the first form instead of immediately, first episode, not more than 3 minutes later after getting that first form, you give him another one? No.
You're touching on my biggest complaint.
Which is pacing.
You said let's get to earlier. What did you want to get to? We'll get to mine later.
Let's get to Newton.
I want to talk about Newton. It's overpowered and he never uses it.
No. It's how he gets it, when he gets it, what they do with it, what they don't do with it, and specifically the Drive Ghost movie.
Why don't you start from the beginning of that list?
So he gets it in Drive. He got it at the end of Drive. Okay. They forget about it.
Yeah.
For a good 3-4 episodes. He gets it again. He actually uses it. Mind you, they lift up the city. This dude can have gravitational forces at his whim. And he decides to use it then. Using stock footage from the O's movie. When the city is lifted, that's from the O's movie. Except this time we're going to put magic circles around the bottom. Because that's such a great idea. You can't tell. To be fair, it's been 7 years or so.
In all fairness,
5 years.
I didn't know.
O's celebrated its 10th anniversary recently.
Yeah. Ghost ends up using this. Okay, that's fine. Let's move on to the Drive Ghost movie. This is something I'm going to end up talking about because we're not going to be doing a separate video for these movies. They forget each other somehow. They don't know each other in the Drive Ghost movie. You met. Did y'all forget y'all met? Because y'all immediately start fighting each other. I'm sitting here like, not recognize. Like, I can understand Spectre, But Ghost coming in and starting to fight Drive and Mach, who he met, makes 0 sense. It's full of fuckery, and it's bullshit. And I refuse to entertain the notion that that movie is good. But back to this, Newton is something that is so overpowered that he doesn't use it. And I'm sitting here like...
Then why give it to him?
And that's, like you said, the pacing. Because of the fact they had to introduce a new one every single week for the first couple of weeks, it hurt this form and how broken it. That's the thing I sort of appreciate that they've done in Ultraman Z. When he got Gamma Future, they showed that that form is broken.
Okay. I haven't been keeping up with it, but...
They show that that form is broken. They haven't introduced another form after it. Because that form is broken.
For anybody who doesn't understand the terms that we're using, because there are people who don't. When we say it's broken, that means it is so powerful, the rest of the game, per se, is moot.
You have power over gravity.
Exactly. Like, that is and the way that they present it to us, I mean, if he can lift or lower a fucking city at will, no one stands a chance against him, but he just refuses to use it because of plot convenience.
Was he the one? He wasn't the one who lifted the city.
No,
I said
lifted
or lowered
it down.
I said lifted or lowered at will.
Well, it was falling, and then he caught it more.
But the thing is, they also show later
he can hold a city.
He has the other effect, where he can lift something as well.
He has pure control over gravity. To that extent, no one can fucking touch him. But yet, because it's only episode, 4 when he gets this?
Yeah.
We still have 50 fucking episodes to do, so we have to forget that form exists. It's the opposite of the bitch effect. You gave him something so goddamn powerful that the rest of the show is...
We'll go back to the good for a second, because there is something...
But that's what broken means. That it has defied logic as to why there's still a show.
Let's go back to the good for 1 second.
Please.
The beginning of Alain's story, up to when Grandma Fumi dies.
Okay.
I like that. That's probably the strongest that the show got. Never went anywhere after that. But his story up to, him actually leaving the side of the Gamma and killing the other guy, and, meeting Grandma Fumi and then having her die, and that really, affecting him.
Yeah.
I like his story at the beginning. However,
I didn't like him as a character.
However, his story was a B plot.
I don't even know if I'd give it a B plot.
I don't know that it was a B plot either. It's a B plot that they made the A plot for a pretty good chunk of the show.
Like a good 7 episodes or so, yeah. And then he doesn't get anything else really. Like I understand he has the whole thing with his brother.
Not really, because his arc gets resolved, and then that's pretty much it.
I sit here I feel like he should have taken precedence at the end with everything happening with his brother. That should have been the time.
Another thing that I need that is bad is that this show, and honestly, I'm going to be real honest, 01 was guilty of this as well. It does not know how to handle upgrades. And I mean actual, not new forms, I mean upgrades. We got base form, we got burning, we got the mid form, we got the fight, and then we didn't get a chance to really enjoy all these power-ups until the next one came along.
What do you mean with 01?
Shining Hopper, Shining Assault Hopper, Metal Cluster.
Those two happened around the same time.
That's my point, is that we didn't get a chance to... Shining Hopper was its own form for an episode and a half.
And then they copied the Assault Trigger.
And then...
at least with Metal, that was there for a while.
And that was another complaint. It came in... I think it came in too soon, but this is the wrong show to review right now. But, in this case...
Or it was Tokucast Boost.
It was Boost.
Let's talk about Boost.
Boost?
Let's talk about fucking Boost. I want to talk about Boost. Are you boosted for this? Boost was shit! Boost was terrible! Boost shouldn't have happened. I hate this form so much.
That was kind of what I was getting
And how they got to it.
My problem is how they got to it.
And
the moment he got it, there was nothing else.
And?
The fact that how they got to it kept happening. Over. And over and over again. Because it's we're going to make the wish after we get all the icons together. We made the wish. Oh, it's not the wish. We're going to do the wish.
We didn't make the wish.
It's like Dragon Ball. We got all the fucking Dragon Balls together to make a certain wish, and something else had to happen instead. So now we gotta fucking do it again.
Episode 12, where he gets Boost, where he goes to the afterlife for a bit. Dad gives him a hug. He comes back.
He fights Geki Chopper.
He makes, is that who plays Javert?
Yes.
Yep. And he's Javert.
Well, no. He hugs Yellow Lion, goes to fight Geki Chopper.
He's not wrong.
Descends with a sister.
Yeah.
Fuck.
My
Kanon's trash. Go back to this.
what the heck was I even saying?
How he got boosted.
Right.
Gives Dad a hug.
Right.
Comes back.
Gives
He
Dad a hug.
fights Javert.
Comes back and Kamen Rider 24601.
Yeah.
And
The amount of jokes we made when this show was first airing. Oh my god.
Here's the thing. I made jokes about him before I knew his name because when he shows up, I was like, "Oh, he looks like Javert." It's the hair, it's the mustache,
the body
goatee,
language.
the body, the way he's standing, the costume. I'm like, hey, it's Russell Crowe. He's in the show. And then,
what's your name? He goes, Javert.
And
Motherfucker.
And then Alan calls him Javert. I was like, no, I was joking. Stop.
No, backpedal, please, for the love of God.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
No, I meant the show needs a backpedal.
Okay.
Let's get to some of the main issues.
I want to get to my biggest issue with the show, getting back to, looping back around to what I was talking about.
I have one minor issue.
Okay, what?
The sunglass sword is stupid.
It is.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever
It's
seen.
the Zoodra sword.
I get what they were going for.
I just mean sunglasses as an aesthetic.
Again, I get what they were going for. Open it, put the two icons in it. All right, that
Glasses.
works.
Oh my god.
I feel like
you're geniuses.
I feel like you could have done it in a way without gluing oversized novelty sunglasses to a plastic sword.
The thing is, it's the Zoodra mold.
Is it?
It's legitimately the same shape as the Zoodra sword.
You're talking their uniform sword with the two cubes?
Yeah.
It's the
exact same thing.
Jeez, they really did stretch their budget.
But I hated that. I fucking hated the mid-season power up with all the icons. Also, can we also say the drivers in this show look awful? I fucking hate them.
They're all too bulky.
They're too bulky. They don't shut the fuck up.
Okay, Matt, you know those videos of, you've probably seen them on YouTube where it's like Alexander Hamilton, but it's every song played at once?
Yeah.
Henshin sequences in this show with multiple characters sound like that.
Yep.
It is a cacophony, if ever there was one, because you have...
Ooh, big word.
You have... think about it, because you've got... Each driver has a different song. Each driver has a different... has different catchphrases, different lines. Each form has different lines. And when you are hearing them all layered on top of each other...
It's grating.
It is a mess.
And they do it a couple times.
And it's just an absolute mess. They do it multiple times. And instead of, I transform, you hear my thing. I transform, you hear my thing. I transform, you hear my thing. Yeah, it would have taken a little longer, but it would have been better.
But that's like the main problem of the show is we have no time. Go. We have no time.
That brings me to my biggest problem with this show. Absolutely nothing that happens in this show is given the time it deserves. Mm-hmm. Nothing.
Or certain things are given too much time.
This show is both excessively padded and excessively rushed.
Somehow at the same time.
At the same time, the stuff that doesn't need a lot of screen time, like transformations that take too long, fights that drag on for too long, finishers that never seem to work. I
think you hit a chord.
Characters running around, and there's so many scenes of characters running around and trying to do things or trying to figure things out instead of actually working to solve their problems. And instead of dwelling on the real dramatic moments...
Keep going. Keep going.
Because you're raising your hand like you want to speak, so I want to give you the time.
Because the way that you just made that, because of the fact that we just have characters going around just doing things, the two helpers at the temple were unnecessary.
They were.
And we got 2 episodes focused on one of them.
On one of them with his mom in the reverse aging.
That was... garbage! I hated everything about that.
What about the monsters who didn't want to be evil?
I was okay with that.
Yeah, that was fine.
I was okay with that.
My issue is that with that, on top of those, on top of, the fucking monk and the scientist.
Akari.
Yeah. Just stop!
there are too many characters.
There are a lot of
They
characters.
CW'd this.
A lot.
The biggest complaint of all the CW superhero shows is that they're too much focused on the ensemble. Like Arrow, there were too many fucking people to worry about. Flash got too many fucking people to worry about, and all with their own goddamn stories and plots.
A lot of the fat need to be trimmed off.
I don't know that the problem because
I'm just making a comparison.
Okay, well, to bring another comparison into it, you look at a movie like Infinity War and Endgame that have hundreds of, not hundreds, but there's so many characters in them. You can have a movie or a show with dozens of characters. It all comes down to script.
The difference in those is that you also have the advantage of all of the previous movies from Infinity War and Endgame that built up and introduced to those characters.
I disagree because Avengers Endgame is the highest grossing movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the most inside baseball movie of all time. There are lots of people who that's the only MCU movie they've seen, and they were still able to understand it.
Oh no, I'm not stating.
Yes, that is a big advantage that they
I'm
had.
saying it was advantage. I didn't say it was the reason. I'm saying it's an advantage. However, with a show like this, where this is the same way, but they didn't write the introduction of those characters into Endgame. Mm-hmm. They wrote Endgame assuming that you know who these characters are, or wrote it enough where you could get the idea. These people had to write an introduction to these characters, give them growth, give them an arc, and there were too many fucking people to do it.
It's like people complaining about things having too many characters. I mean, like every movie and every show has to introduce its world, introduce its characters, set it up. What are the stakes? What are we doing here? What's going on? Every show in existence, every movie in existence has to do that. Yes, Marcus.
To that point, though, a movie is 2 hours?
That's one of the reasons I think it's harder for a movie to do.
Exactly.
Because you are limited
a lot
by time.
of them are doing that.
But
with a 50-episode show, and you still don't end up doing it. Those 2 months didn't need to be there.
No, they didn't.
They weren't necessary.
It's also about what the viewer wants to watch when they're watching a show. And for the example that I gave, when people go to watch Flash, they don't want to watch an entire arc about the elongated man. They want to watch the Flash. So when people go to watch Kamen Rider Ghost, I don't give a fucking flying shit about these two helper monks and their mommy issues. I want to watch Kamen Rider Ghost, not be awful. But I didn't get either of those.
Well,
back to this show.
Things like...
And no, I will not comment about the elongated man getting fired. But
things like the... One thing that I did like is that Makoto, Spectre, and his sister... The relationship that started out with, by that I mean his relationship with Ghost, the way it was very antagonistic when it started. I complained in our Ninja Steel review a couple of weeks ago about how, he was captured, how the Red Ranger was captured as a kid, but he was just totally fine psychologically.
Yeah, no,
I felt like this was giving me what I wanted from that.
I can give you that.
But Makoto, I like what they did with him at first.
Keyword.
And again, my problems with him, again, it comes down to the script. It gives him not enough to do, and what it does give him to do, it never
does enough with
fleshes it out enough. But the way he's focused on bringing his sister back to life, and the way that narrow focus, that myopic goal is driving him to, hurt someone who was on his side, who he was childhood friends with. I liked that. I really liked that. And I was like... But
the moment she came back.
Not so much the moment that she came back. It's, once again, they didn't repair the relationship enough.
No, and also that...
I wanted an entire episode of the four of them, Takeru, Akari, Makoto, and Kanon, just hanging out and talking. Mm-hmm. They needed an episode where don't shake your head at me, man.
No, I'm not shaking my head at you. I'm shaking my head at the show because this show does not have the attention span to do something like that.
Which is why I am critiquing it and disciplining it as I should.
It's just
you needed an episode to breathe and to catch up and to repair and mend the bonds that have been broken. Yep. This show is constantly going on. It feels like the writers of this show had 50 ideas and didn't quite know how to follow through on either of them. The things with, whether it was the icons corrupting people's ideals, whether it was the Ganma and Ghost and, their war and their struggle for a perfect world, whether it was Alan and, his clash with Takeru and Makoto siding with Alan and the other Ganma and the scientist Gamma, Takeru's relationship with Akari and her trying to prove things. We have 100 billion freaking ideas and they keep going on about unlimited possibilities, unlimited potential. Unlimited power. The icons in this show. People like Edison and Newton and
Beethoven.
Billy the Kid, Beethoven. People who exemplify throughout history and, fiction in Robin Hood's case. People who have exemplified unlimited potential. What can humans really do when they dig deep and find that they truly have the capacity for good? Don't laugh at me.
No, I'm laughing at that. I'm laughing at that statement, and then I look at Edison and just remember.
Yeah,
actually, Edison.
Okay, yeah, we know. Okay, we don't need to freaking go into that.
Terrible person. No, but I understand exactly what you mean.
Okay,
I understand.
Where the hell was I?
Human potential.
When people can dig deep and they can find out they truly have the ability to do good things, to be better people, and the show just doesn't seem to know how to tell that story because it's trying to tell 50 things at once and it doesn't know how to tell them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the show. I'm not angry. I'm just so disappointed.
I'm going to give you over it.
Yeah,
because you need a minute. Let's talk about.
I have one bad thing I would like to talk about.
Okay.
All of the weapons in this show
are too big.
Are too big and look awful.
They look very bad.
Like the paradigm of what the fuck is
Paragon.
No, paradigm. Perfect
the
example.
Model.
Yeah, the perfect example is Benkei's hammer.
Oh, with the spider thing on the end?
That is the most ridiculous, just not, I don't even want to say the word realistic, but just illogical look
That's bad.
For a hammer I have ever seen.
Let's get
that and the bow.
Let's get to something big here. Let's talk about...
As opposed to everything else we've been talking about.
The story. Specifically...
I think that's kind of what he was just talking about.
After the first 12 episodes.
Oh, I was talking about that too.
Because repetition is the name of the game.
Repetition. Thy name is Ghost.
Because the first wish gets used on somebody else.
Yep.
We think that's it. Takeru's gone forever. Nope, he's back.
The bottom drops out of the stakes with an audible thud.
Yeah.
At that moment. Because Gramp shows up and he's like, "You idiot! Now you have another 99 days to do it, to do the thing."
Who comes up with these rules? Who decides these rules? Are these rules just made up on the fly?
Clearly
like the rest of this show
because
really
they
was?
are very fair and balanced. Sorry, I couldn't resist the DBZ reference.
Clearly it was the writers in the capricious hands of fate.
I'm looking at this like, okay, he gets boost, he has another 99 days.
Yep.
Why, I don't know. We end up getting another wish, which, again, does not get used on him. But somehow, out of that, he ends up getting grateful. And then we do it again, but this time in a shorter time frame. We get infinite.
We get Mugen.
This,
which I know people like Mugen. I hate Mugen.
Story-wise, it's the worst.
I've said in the past that I didn't like getting more of a feel of it this time around in this viewing and watching it with a more critical eye. I like what they were going for again with inverting it from a black base to a white base, but keeping the orange and the rainbow on the horn.
Mm-hmm.
Adding glitter.
It does look a bit like Lisa Frank was asked to design a Kamen Rider to me, but not entirely a bad choice. I think. I think it works.
I think
from an aesthetic perspective, I think it works.
I think from an aesthetic perspective, it's too similar in the wrong ways to Wizard's Final Form.
That was so many years, though. That was 3 years prior to this, though.
But
it's still there.
It's still there, and it's the same thing when we talk about how the secondary writers always get the blue and gold. Vulcan's Final Form was primarily blue with a dash of lighter blue, and I think there was some gold in there. and some silver in there too. I still thought, God damn it, they went with blue again. But that was his color from the beginning.
Yeah, that was always his color. It's like they just don't give him that color out of nowhere. It's that.
To springboard off
fucking beast.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Because I kind of want to springboard off of that a little bit.
Go for it. I was just speaking of aesthetics. That's my area.
I'm not entirely against reusing things when there's such a long gap between when I watched it, but considering release date, I can understand that. Getting back to what I said earlier in this review about it feels like they picked table scraps from Forza and Wizard, where they're constantly going. It's all about connecting and friendship and hope and all these ideas that we've heard repeated so much in those two shows. And yeah, that final form. Thinking about it now,
that's actually it
does make sense.
Talking around the final. Let's talk about the Ganmeister, shall we? And that last arc where he's fighting all of them. And the fact that when you said earlier, finishers that don't work. That's the whole thing. You get Infinity. You get your final form. And you constantly fight the same Ganmeister, by the way. You can tell that the budget was stretched then at this point because they just did not have money. Because those Ganmeisters just kept coming back over and over and over again with Alain's brother, who I don't care to remember your name.
Adele.
Don't care. It was bullshit. It was boring to watch because it's just like he's going to Rider take this thing or Rider Slash or whatever have you and not beat it. And they're just going to come back again. It got tiring. There's a difference between being bored and being tired. And you're sitting there watching this thing like it seemed like there is no end in sight.
Yeah.
It was just like, I felt like I was being tortured watching the last part of Ghost. More so than the rest of it, because the rest of it was also bad, but it was just like, when you got to this point, it was just a chore.
Was Spectre's final form show proper, or was it hyper?
Deep Spectre.
Or, I don't know, I mean, was it in show proper, or was it in like...
It was in show.
As far as I'm concerned, final form is always show proper, anything else is just miscellaneous.
I can't...
He got his copy form in his own movie.
Okay. I'm a vast minority on this thought, and I've discussed this with them before in previous videos. I actually did not hate that look, the look of Deep Spectre.
Deep Spectre was alright.
I remember when
I feel like it was a little bit too over-designed.
I remember, because I know we did a video in the past where we railed against it about how much we hated it.
And I'm sitting there just going, I think it's cool.
I think it's too over-designed.
I can kind of get that.
I can understand why you'd say that.
But with the aesthetic
seeing
they were
it in
going
motion
for,
is not so bad.
Yeah.
With the aesthetic they were going for, I really enjoyed the mixture of purple and red and silver, and they really took his double horn aesthetic and made him just look like a demon, and I was really here for that.
Let's talk about Alia.
Sunglasses,
the
still
sister.
stupid.
Yeah, Alan's sister.
She was there. She transformed for all of 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Lost. And that was the last time we ever saw Necron P. And I'm sitting here I understand that you're just trying to reuse the things that you got from the movie to try to make a whole Sentai team because Alain's already green. But the rest of this is... Her doing that just made no sense. The whole backstory with all the stuff that went on with the Godmizers was too little too late.
The Gamba as a whole...
Yeah.
Their whole backstory of they were an ancient tribe who, worshipped, the monolith that had the icon on it, which was actually, a malevolent force, and they somehow, they got taken to another world, and Alan's father is a leader, but his son wants to kill him, and he does, and they usurp him. And then you have Edith, a.k.a. Gramps, who is trying to play both sides as a double agent because he really wants things to work out. It really, again, it goes back to what I was saying about nothing being given the time it deserves. They brush over a lot of this stuff really fast. They don't give it the time it deserves to flesh it out. And all of it, especially Adele, him being the main antagonist towards the end of the show, He's just a nothing character.
He doesn't have the charisma to really bring
He doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't really have the acting chops, and the script doesn't give him the time to let us appreciate him as a menacing force.
Because really all he does is send out again, Miser. Oh, it didn't work. We'll send it out again because the same one used over.
Send out a bunch of copies of myself hovering in the air and blasting you with hand
and everybody
lasers.
will turn into me.
Yeah.
Pulling the same stunt that the Master did.
I was just thinking that. God damn it. He's making a Doctor Who joke. The Master turned everybody into him.
Which is the same. I'm sitting here like, I've seen this before, I've seen it done better, and this is, when Adele did it, I was bored.
I love that line. For how smart you are, you're still bone dead stupid. It's like, what are you talking about? That guard is 1 inch too tall. And the guy punches the Master out cold. And I died.
It was, I hate this.
We hate this.
It's a terrible show.
But
it's one of those shows where it's so hard to watch.
I still have more to talk about.
Let's keep going.
The finale.
Ooh, you want to talk about a wizard situation again? And the fact that he's powered by Mom Hug. But Mom's dead. So I guess you just had to bring her back. But unfortunately, we don't do it well enough for this to work. But it's okay, because our base form is the one that we're going to use to beat the bad guy. I guess that's okay, because Mugen certainly didn't do shit about the rest of the goddamn 12 episodes that it was here on.
I know I'm getting the spoiler for 0-1, but I was so impressed with how 0-1 handled
Oh, yeah, that was great. That was great.
That handled that trope.
That was great. But, back to your point.
One of the worst finales I've ever seen.
Yes!
One of the worst. And...
Can you think of any that were worse?
Well, off the top of my head, no. So
I was just curious.
I'm kind of fixated on this right now.
No, that's fair. I was just curious if you could think of any that were worse.
I mean, if we're talking shows in general, Gurren Lagann, that ending just pissed me off.
We don't need to rip up those old wounds for me. Moving on.
I hated the finale, but
I watched that show after Clannad to make myself feel better.
Good show, but
that did not work out for me.
It is a terrible finale. It's just so boring.
But getting back to Ghost.
Yes.
Ghost finale. You bring up the Wizard thing. I honestly think Wizard did it better.
That's the sad thing.
I think Wizard.
That's the fucking sad thing.
Wizard did it. Wizard was atrocious, but I feel like it did it better because we are pulling the final villain of the show, like the icon itself that was worshipped by the Ganma, bringing itself into our world and freaking vaporizing, turning into a kaiju and soul blasting everyone and stealing their souls back to the Ganma world.
We need a Megazord power now.
Just that it feels like they really just pulled this out of their ass.
Yeah.
The whole, that monster coming when it did, oops, can't beat it in my final form. Oh no, the fact that, everyone is dying. We have, Javert coming back and sacrificing himself to save everyone, which...
10 times of...
There is no point to go on!
That noise, though.
It didn't bother me.
Anyway.
But, crap.
Just...
Okay, it's the bit you were talking about with the mother.
It came out of nowhere.
This is something you need to set up from the first episode.
Exactly.
You need to set this up really early on.
So
the fact that he's just I don't know what they told him, what they told the actor to do. I don't know were they just it's the last day, we gotta finish, we're running short on time, we gotta get these shots, we're losing daylight. I don't know what happened.
Night filming's expensive.
But he's sitting on the roof of that skyscraper looking at the icon kaiju just capturing all the souls, and he's just
where did I go wrong?
And he's like, wow, this sucks. And then all of a sudden, Icon pops up. He sees
flashes of his mother.
Flashes. It's two. We get two scenes. We get his. She's pregnant with him and talking to his dad. If it's a boy, we should name him Takeru. And then it's like Takeru, okay. And then we cut to his mother. She died, giving birth. Couldn't handle it. She passes away.
I guess it might have been her body or something. We're not saying anything about that. But at the same time,
well,
wow.
She dies right afterwards. We see her say goodbye. It's my mom. Even to the very end, she loved me. A does not connect to pretzel. These two scenarios, they have nothing in common.
They don't.
What does his mother loving him have to do with him doing what? Okay, so his mother his mother loved him until the end. What does that have to do with him not giving up?
And the fact that throughout the rest of the show, the only person that we really focused on was his dad.
Seriously.
This is the only time his mom ever gets mentioned.
At all.
A to pretzel. A to lizard bike.
Actually, really quick, before we end up going any further.
Oh, did I just trigger you with lizard bike?
You triggered me with lizard... No, you triggered me with pirate ship that turns into giant iguana.
Right, let's talk about that. What? That was stupid.
What was the thought that...
Terrible.
I want to know what the thought that was that went into that.
There wasn't one. It was bad.
What they wanted was that they had an idea that they thought would cool would be like something that he could ride that is an animal.
No, because they always, at least over the past couple years in Rider, had to have something big.
What does being a pirate ship and a lizard have to do with being a ghost?
It might be some Japanese mythology thing. I haven't seen anything about it in Yokai Watch. So I'm just looking at this like it still makes no sense. I want to talk about something really small since we just brought up that. I hate this opening.
Yeah.
I hate this opening. It's awful.
It's generic anime bullshit.
It's so bad. And it's weirdly atonal at the beginning, so it hits your ear wrong immediately. I'm listening to this thing like I want you to stop. Stop. Stop it.
I'm not hitting the table.
Stop. I hate this opening.
I didn't mind the opening.
I hated it. I hated it so much.
I didn't mind it at first, but then the more the show went on...
And the more annoyed you got with the show, the more annoyed you got with the opening.
I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, when we were talking about our least favorite Toku, I said there was one show I felt nothing was over, and there was one show I was relieved when it was over. The Ninja, I felt nothing. Kamen Rider Ghost, I was relieved I never had to watch another second.
It's so bad. Do you have anything else?
Mr.
About like everything?
Yeah, because we already went over Adele, we already went over the sister, went over the dad and that whole plot. Speaking of which,
do we have any? We kind of went over Elaine, but not very much.
I like
not much to go over.
No,
I wish he got another form.
Yeah,
Elaine really needed another form instead of the whole thing with the guy from The Journey to the East.
Samukong?
The other one that was with him. Damn it, I should probably have Elaine's thing up. But it was also a character in the anime.
You mean Sanjo?
Yes!
Yeah, the monk.
Yes.
Not that one.
I know. I'm trying to think of something happy, damn it!
He just got that whole thing where it just, I'm going to go ahead and slightly upgrade this thing where I can summon the...
Tripitaka. That's the
if Ghost was the one who made the forms, he would be walking up to him just like goddamn Grease. Can I have a power up, please?
Sanzo.
Yes, Sanzo. That's it. Genjo Sanzo.
Yes.
But
been a while since I've seen Sayuki.
Yes, that's the anime. The anime that spawned the Dojins. But anyway, back to this.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
That show just
back
did
to
it.
this.
There was a lot of official art. But anyway,
I mean, 4 guys trapped in a Jeep for 400 episodes.
I like that anime. It was actually pretty good. But
this show though,
he gets another form in Spectre's movie, but it's like he needed another one in the show to actually put him on par because he came in so strong and got so weak, and that's about where he stayed.
You can say that about a lot of things in this show.
There's no strength to this show. It came in and then just kept going down.
Something I'd like to bring up is there are flashes of good ideas when it comes to the action.
Flashes of inspiration.
When it comes to the action, and there are some pretty cool uses of slow-mo. There is one scene, the episode where he gets Beethoven, the fight scene that takes place in dead silence.
Oh, right, because it needs the music.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
That was a really clever thing to do.
Yeah.
And I liked it quite a bit. And there's one shot in particular where it's Alan and
I was so angry
Makoto.
during that fight scene. I was so angry during that fight scene.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. There's a scene where
because it was so good, and I'm like, where the fuck? I'm sorry, but
keep going. Between Elaine and Makoto.
It's not between them, but they're fighting a monster where they charge up and do their finishers, and they do it in slow motion running towards the camera. And I really liked that. There was
right, and then you see their foot hit the monster, like when the camera swoops down below them.
I think it's a slashing one they do. It's like a slashing one they do towards the camera. That one. And there's another time where like Takeru, like Alan and Makoto, they're about to get hit by a monster's finisher, and Takeru like phases in behind them and pulls them out of the way just in time. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool shot.
That is something, I think we brought this up before, like during this time of like Niu Heisei and both Kamen Rider and Sentai, there's a lot of new ideas, cinematography-wise, happening in fight scenes. So,
which was happening during the same time with the drone shots and everything.
Yeah, and then we get more of it in Q Ranger.
And a lot more than Loop.
It's there, but they don't do it enough.
No, that's my point. Is that that's why I use the word experimentation.
Yeah, because it was new. It was more newer technology at the time, especially when Zoido was
out. Like, what I was trying to say is, like, during that silent fight scene, the reason I was angry is because I was enjoying the fight scene so much. I was like, it's too late. It's too late, Ghost. You can't win me over with this bullshit. It's too late to win me over with this bullshit. You can't change my mind. You are bad.
Speaking of which, since we brought up Soldier, that slight team up that they had in those episodes, that happened.
It's a thing that happens.
It was like Takeru leaves in Zyuohger, and you see him going to fight a shocker monster, and then Yamato comes in and helps him.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like, wow, I really wish you would have been there at the end of the show. If you're going to do something like this in show, make it so they don't appear just once.
I much prefer, in terms of Kamen Rider and Sentai team-ups in recent history, the one that comes to my mind the most is Drive with Ninja. Mainly just because I loved watching the scene where Drive shot them all.
It was just an episode that actually happened. Like, it's something that, it was a full episode.
Oh, yeah.
After that, it was just like, we're just going to sprinkle in, because, they did it in XA, in Q Rangers.
No, I just love watching the scene. He goes to Technic, and he goes, okay. All right, I'm done. But
I sort of wish they did that more often now. Where they had like a crossover episode like that.
But like a full episode.
Yeah, so like the Drive and Ninja one, so just like, all right, we have some interaction here. It's just, it's good to see them like that.
It's a nice acknowledgement, other than the goddamn ads between Superhero Time, that these can technically...
eye catch?
These technically can, take place in the same universe.
I mean,
Technically. But we don't typically bring up this part of our reviews lately, which is whether or not we would recommend the show. But in this case, don't.
I don't know. Have you listened to us?
I feel like we don't even have to.
I know. The reason I'm bringing it up is there are people reaching out to us on Twitter saying that, especially one, she's watching Ghost and Drive at the same time.
Sis.
But
I
don't know. She says, I don't think I'm going to make it through Ghost. I'm just sitting there going, don't.
I feel like my thoughts have spoken for themselves.
Yeah.
This show
doesn't get better. It doesn't.
Somebody on one of our videos is just like, you take away the whimsy and something like when you overanalyze stuff. No, when you do something like this, and people say things like consume product. I'm sitting here like, I really don't like that.
When it comes to...
like, I understand just like, I want to watch the show just to have fun, but don't be afraid to critique something.
No, you should never be afraid to critique something.
And that's why I'm just like, I don't do the whole consume product.
To that point of, like, you're taking away the whimsy, I would like to point out, one of my favorite Sentais of all time is critically, even from my perspective, not the greatest Sentai of all time. Kyoryuger is not great.
I love Kabuto, and I know that show has problems.
Yeah. There's a difference between enjoyment and, critiquing it when critiquing is due.
Well, you can still critique something you enjoy.
That's my point.
Yeah, like, I still enjoy Kabuto, and I'll
but, like, he's trying to argue... It seems like that guy's trying to argue, just enjoy it, don't critique it, don't analyze anything. But, first of all, everybody has their line.
Then why are you watching us?
Thank you. But everybody has that line of willful suspension of disbelief, that line that gets crossed of, okay, that doesn't really make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of us, that line is lower than others.
You can see where, like, the story goes off the rails. Like in Ghost, because the story went off the rails early. And it just, like, it never got back on. The train is burning. There are children dying.
Dark.
They are screaming. And unfortunately, I'm sitting there like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. It's been years. This show is bad. Do not watch this show.
I think the problem, like, the issue we have is that we know that Toei can do better.
Yeah.
We know that there were budget issues. We get that. A show doesn't and I know this is me saying it, a show doesn't have to look good to be good. This show did neither.
If I could piggyback on something you said, Marcus, the whole consume product thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, technically, you could say that, especially when you're talking about something like Sentai and like the toku industry as a whole is much more. It is a year-to-year product.
Mm.
It is. Sorry, nose itches. Sorry, I feel like I really have to sneeze, but
no, we can cut. We can cut this.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I hate it.
I felt like I really had to sneeze.
It'll happen when you start talking.
Yeah,
it'll just happen. Just let it happen.
I think he was trying to.
Anyway, but as much of a product as
I'm shielding myself.
It's going to happen. There's no way.
No, it's gone.
Okay.
Back up on
I feel like even when you have something like, I mean, to make another comparison, it may be, completely far out of left field for some, but you look at like sports games, the way they get released year to year, there is still an artistry to making them. Toku, there is still an artistry to making them. There is, art can be found in pretty much everything, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that
beauty in the eye of the beholder and whatnot.
Eye of the beholder. Anything that you put time and energy into creating to be watched for pleasure or for learning, it can be viewed as art. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at something like Ghost, it really is a case of what happens where I feel like it really feels like they stretch their budget, but I feel like the need for toys and the need for other things are really getting in the way of the story. That happens a lot with Toku.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the same guy who wrote Ghost is actually doing Saber, but in Ghost, he wasn't there a lot.
Yeah.
He was missing for a good part of the show. And
sounds like it wasn't the head writer then.
But he was still, credited as the head writer, because he did, but he just kept leaving.
I don't know if, Japan has similar rules to the WGA over here in America, but
I have no idea.
You need to be there in order to get credit in America.
Said,
I don't know how it works over there.
He said in the press release when they revealed that he was doing Ghost, and he knows, the fan response to Ghost.
You mean Saber? He said Ghost.
Yeah. He knows the fan response to Ghost, so he's like, with Saber, I'm going to be there. I'm actually going to be there.
I'm going to be much more hands-on.
He's going to have a much more constructed story, like with X-Aid and 01, because that had the same writer.
And another thing about the whole whimsy thing is, people would always say, you're kind of critiquing a kid's show. Why would you waste your time critiquing a kid's show? And my counter to that is, just because the show is aimed at children doesn't mean
it's free from critiques.
It's free from critiques and doesn't have...
No art is above criticism.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be
I don't care who it's for.
One of the best shows, writing-wise, in my opinion, is a kid's show. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't know why I like Adventure Time.
I thought you were going to say Steven Universe.
I also thought you were going to say
I haven't seen enough of...
That's what I thought you were going to say.
I haven't seen enough of Steven Universe or Adventure Time to make that judgment. So that's why I don't... And I know I've heard amazing things about Steven Universe, and I know Adventure Time is deeper than what appears on the surface, as you've made abundantly clear. Thank you for that moment when you translated Lady Rain according to college. I'll never forget that to the day I die.
She's so good.
You don't have to go into it now.
I'll go into it off camera, but she got kinky. But anyway...
As do we all.
After Last Airbender, it tackles ideas that are such above what we consider a kid's show. Fascism, imperialism, Buddhism, and just all of these other isms that kids wouldn't ever really grasp. And the more I look at it as an adult, I just go, holy shit. Also, the best redemption arc for a villain character ever.
And to springboard off of that,
and that's a fucking kid's show.
Ghost. One of the biggest things that this show gets into is the topics of life and death. What is Takaru?
Sorry.
What is Takaru's catchphrase? It's "My life is burning bright." The idea that a person can live in a way to give light to others, your mere existence, is a miracle and a gift to everyone. And I'm not talking about this show. I'm talking about you. And you too. And you as well. Everyone your existence is a gift. Life is a gift. Don't waste it. And you look at a show like Ghost, where life and death are treated so trivially. After episode 12, when he just where our characters are not given any time to mourn his loss, even when he dies for the first time, we get no time to mourn his loss.
He pretty much just dies off screen.
Pretty much.
Even though we see it, he pretty much dies off screen.
And then we come back, he's totally fine, and now you have another 99 days. Well, guess what? In real life, you don't get another 99 days.
Sexual.
I'm not trying to get too dark with it. I'm not trying to get too deep with it, but I really like the idea of your life being a beacon, your life being something that can give hope to other people. That's something that I feel like that's something that I want to do in real life. It's something I think we could all strive for. And the way the show is executed, it just comes across as all talk in the end. Especially at the end where it's like, oh, right, my mom loved me, so I won't give up. If they had given that story beat the time it deserved, if they had set that up earlier, if maybe we had a scene where Akari and Takaru were talking about his mom and the fact that he never got to meet her and she never got to meet her, but she must have been an amazing woman. Maybe look at some pictures. Maybe find an old photo album. Things that you can build on throughout the show. And this is another reason why I think it would have helped if Onari was an older actor. If he was alive while both of the parents were, and he could tell stories about, man, your dad, he was the greatest. Oh, your mom, she was too pure for this world. She was taken too soon.
I want you to hold the rest of that thought, because this sounds like amazing things for how we would fix.
You're right. I think I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to go ahead and end it here.
We are going to do a how we would fix Ghost. We're actually going to record it right after this.
Can't say to when it'll air, but you'll see it.
What is next? Oh.
Is it an Ultraman?
Really, at this point, I end up switching Ultraman and Garo back and forth whenever I just feel like it.
So it's either Ultraman or Garo?
We're going to do Garo next. We're not going to end the pain soon enough. So we're going to do the
Garo anime?
Yes, Garo anime season 2.
The one you hated.
Yes.
That I haven't seen yet.
And the reason I'm saving it is because of the fact that I haven't started Ultraman Cosmos yet. So
neither have I.
And that's 60-something episodes, so yes. I feel like we need more time.
Holy fuck, okay. But yeah, those are our thoughts on Kamen Rider Ghost. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you want us to pitch a certain show for Toku Pitch, the American version, put that in the comments below as well. Follow us on all the things.
We are on Twitter at the Tokucast. Instagram at the Tokucast as well. You can support us on Patreon if you so choose. Any bit of financial support
we also have
appreciated.
We also have Facebook.
And we are on Facebook, and we have a Discord as well, and that link you will find on our Twitter page.
Yep. But we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you all for joining us.
Bye.
Your life is a gift.
Life is a gift.
Bye, everyone.